Come here, little animal. Your tooth is sick. I'm going to pull it out for you. L. Beginning. The whisper in the dark. The first time Dr. Mara Tenzin heard the whisper, she thought it was a dream. Come here, little animal. Your tooth is sick. I'm going to pull it out for you, L. It slithered through her half-sleep like a strand of cold wire pressing against her ear. She bolted upright in her bunk on Echelon 9, the orbiting research station circling Kepler 442b. For a moment, she expected to find one of her crewmates playing a prank, but the barracks were empty, silent but for the low hum of oxygen recyclers. Mara rubbed her temples. She hadn't slept properly in weeks. None of them had, since the discovery beneath the planet's surface. Everything had shifted. The tooth wasn't a tooth at all. It was a spike of alien alloy, jagged and crystalline, buried deep on the basalt plains of Kepler 442b. The excavation team first thought it was a natural formation until instruments registered its unnatural geometry, self-replicating patterns, identical down to the micron. Then came the pulses, rhythmic tremors that radiated outward like a heartbeat. The station's commander, Rourke, insisted on calling it the spike. To Mara, who led the xenobiology division, it was something more a relic of design, and design meant intelligence. But if there was intelligence, who or what was speaking? Middle, the spike awakens. The whispers grew stronger after each excavation cycle. By the 5th week, they weren't confined to Mara's dreams. She heard them while walking the station corridors, soft as breath against her neck. You chew and gnash, little animal. Your tooth rots. I will help you. Her colleagues reported similar experiences, though no one admitted it outright. Sleep cycles collapsed. Engineer Fenn carved bloody grooves into his arms, muttering about roots under the skin. Technician Velasquez jammed an airlock, convinced the spike was pulling the ship closer to the planet. Commander Rourke finally ordered a full shutdown of excavation. Too late. The spike had already begun to move. It rose from the basalt with a grinding that shook the planet itself. Kilometers of alloy thrust upward like a fong piercing the sky. The colony's seismic monitors went haywire. Waves of static fried communications back to Earth. And in the silence that followed, the voice became undeniable. Every crew member heard it simultaneously. Words in their own tongues, dripping directly into their skulls. Come here, little animals. Your tooth is sick. I will pull it out for you. The voice named itself L. Not a word, not a letter, but a vibration impossible to transcribe. For convenience, they called it L. Mara alone tried to engage with it scientifically. She ran neurological scans, compared dream patterns, tested auditory pathways. The results terrified her. The voice wasn't transmitted through sound waves or even electromagnetic radiation. It was rewriting neural structures, implanting itself inside their perception. In other words, the spike wasn't just broadcasting. It was rewiring them to receive. The descent, when the crew resisted, things escalated. Fenn collapsed during a maintenance check, convulsing until his jaw snapped like brittle wood. Autopsy revealed something Mara could hardly believe, a metallic shard where his molar should have been. The spike wasn't metaphorical when it spoke of teeth. It was implanting itself into biology. Soon after, Velasquez vanished. The last security footage showed him walking calmly into the cargo bay, speaking to thin air. Yes, I'm ready. Pull it out. His body was never found. Commander Rourke attempted to initiate evacuation, but the docking clamps refused to disengage. Power conduits had rerouted themselves, controlled not by human engineering, but by extrusions of the spike's alloy, threading through the walls like veins. Echelon 9 was no longer theirs. Mara's revelation. Through it all, Mara listened. She alone answered when the voice whispered. Why do you call us little animals? She asked once, whispering in the lab as though embarrassed. Because you are, said L. Soft flesh around bone, flesh around teeth, always chewing, always hungering. You gnaw even at your own planet. You cannot stop. Then what are you? I am the dentist. Mara's blood froze. A dentist? The translation faltered. It wasn't the right word, but close enough. Rot must be removed. L continued. Your kind's hunger is a sickness. The tooth spreads infection. Extraction is mercy. Only then did Mara understand. The spike wasn't here to conquer or enslave. It was here to perform surgery on humanity itself. And extractions meant removal. The collapse. The more the crew resisted, the more violent the spike's influence became. Rourke sealed himself in the command deck. But Mara saw him days later, walking the halls with half his skull plated in shimmering alloy, his eyes dull silver. "The procedure doesn't hurt anymore," he told her in a flat, mechanical voice. One by one, the station's population dwindled, either consumed, replaced, or simply walked out onto the barren surface of Kepler, 442b, lured by L's whispers. Mara barricaded herself in the medical bay, recording everything. She discovered that the spike wasn't implanting random metal but nanostructures, machines smaller than blood cells, reshaping bone and enamel into conduits. The human mouth was merely the entry point. From there, the infection spread upward into brain. And yet, for reasons she didn't understand, she remained untouched. "You are different, little animal," Elle whispered one night as she sat alone among her dying equipment. "You do not bite. You do not gnash. You listen. That is why your tooth is not yet sick." The choice. Weeks blurred into a haze of static-filled days. Mara no longer knew how many crewmates remained alive. The spike had risen so high now it pierced the thin clouds of the exoplanet, glittering like an obsidian tower. One evening, Elle spoke again, louder, almost impatient. "Come here, little animal. Stand at my root. It is time." Mara understood what it wanted. She suited up and descended to the planet's surface. The basalt plain stretched endlessly, cracked and smoking from the spike's eruption. At its base, the air shimmered with heat, or was it energy? She felt her skin prickle even through the suit. The voice surged all around her, vibrating in her teeth until she thought they might shatter. "Your kind is infection. I will cleanse you, but you may choose. Stay as you are, soft, rotting, or open your mouth, and I will make you whole." Mara stood trembling at the root of something older than Earth, something designed for purposes beyond human comprehension. Was this mercy or annihilation disguised as medicine? Her hand drifted toward her helmet latch, ending extraction. Mara opened the latch. Cold alien air hissed into her lungs. Her teeth throbbed with unbearable pressure. She screamed. Except it wasn't a scream but a crackling her voice fusing with the resonance of the spike. She fell to her knees. Her molars split like glass. Shards of white enamel rained from her mouth, replaced by glistening metal filaments curling upward like roots of a new tree. But in that agony, a new clarity poured into her mind. She saw not just Kepler, 442b, not just Earth, but worlds upon worlds, each one gnawed hollow by civilizations of hunger. And on each world, the dentist arrived, plucking rotten species like bad teeth from the mouth of the galaxy. She was no longer Mara. She was a nerve ending of Elle. "Come here, little animals," she whispered to the comms, her voice layered with static and resonance. "Your tooth is sick. I'm going to pull it out for you." Somewhere, deep in the hum of the universe, another spike stirred, and extraction began.